comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. So it's the end of my first full week in India, and I have done fucking nothing. Fucking dogs. Can you hear these dogs? I fucking start speaking, and then it triggers off one dog, and then it triggers off every fucking dog in the street. There's always some fucking noise here. Someone doing something, some dog barking, some fucking anything. Someone starting their scooter, someone just closing their window then so they couldn't hear me. I'm fucking surrounded. I'm surrounded by humanity. I remember the first time I went overseas by myself. I was sitting at a bar in Chiang Mai with this Italian dude. I'm actually still Facebook friends with this guy somehow. I only spoke to him for like 2 hours at a bar in Chiang Mai like 16 years ago. And haven't spoken to him since, and we're still Facebook friends. He actually looked at one of my stories about a month ago. I'm like, is this guy serious? Just block me. I wonder if he remembers me, because it wasn't exactly like a magnetic fucking sparks are flying 2-hour friendship either. I was hungover as fuck. I had 3 or 4 too many buckets the night before, and I had spent the night before and most of the morning on the ground in the toilet of my hostel, just fucking throwing up into a hole, thinking I'm gonna die. But when I came to, I was walking down the street, and I'm like, I need a beer. I need a drink to get me through this. But I remember this Italian guy, he had just got back from India, and the way he was describing it, I was like, that fucking sounds amazing. But I just remember him taking a sip of his beer and staring into his glass, and in an Italian accent saying, it's just so much humanity. And that's what it is like here. There is just so much fucking humanity here. There never seems to be less than like 8 or 9 people in this house at any time. But I remember the way that Italian guy spoke about India. I was like, I've got to go to India one day. I've got to be there. He was describing getting off at Mumbai airport and then catching a taxi for like 2 hours to a hotel. The driver had no idea where he was going. And he was like, the traffic and the way this guy drove, I thought I was going to die. After about 45 minutes, I just gave up. I couldn't stress anymore. I was like, if I die, I die. And in hindsight, that was a little bit melodramatic, but he did make it sound amazing. And actually, what happened next was this fucking Asian Australian dude turned up to the bar, and he started drinking, talking shit, and he was an annoying cunt. And he's like, I'm going to go fuck some hookers. And we're like, yeah, go fuck some hookers. And so he went and came back, and he's like, oh man, this girl was so fucking hot, man. She wouldn't have been any older than like 13, 14, man. Fuck, she was hot. And we were just like, Jesus Christ, get the fuck away from us. You would see these old fucking dudes, like these disgusting fucking dudes, fucking sex tourists. I'd get drunk and just start calling cunts pedophiles to their face out loud, screaming it. I did that in Cuba as well, like 2 years ago, because there's so much fucking pedophilia in Cuba. And it's out there too in the open. It was my last night in Havana with my wife and some Irish couple, a big Irish dude and his African fucking girlfriend. It was a mixed race couple as well. And we just got fucking hammered. And then we were stumbling home and we bumped into this like another Asian Australian dude. And he's holding hands with this real young Cuban girl. And I'm like, oh, you're another fucking pedophile, are you? And he's like, oh, what did you say? And then my wife's trying to stop me. And I'm like, no, fuck him, he's a pedophile. And he's like, no, she's 19. And then the Irish guy asked the girl and was like, are you 19? And she shook her head. And my wife was like, she looks 13. And I'm like, yeah, you're a fucking pedophile. And then the Asian Australian dude started getting fired up. He's like, oh, fuck you up, man, or some shit along those lines. And I'm like, yeah? And then the big fucking Irish dude like pushed me back and he's like, what are you going to do? And he was fucking huge, this Irish dude. He must have been like 6'5" or something and built like a brick shithouse. And so he fucked off, but it was so fucking seedy. Cuba, Thailand's like that, Cambodia, Vietnam, pretty much any poor country is fucked up. So I exclusively went after backpackers. It wasn't like the backpacker market was a hard market to crack. They're out there trying to have experiences too. And what better experience is there than having the Boyle pass out next to you before anything's happened? There's not many better experiences than that. What the fuck was I going to speak about today? This was not what I was going to speak about. Pedophilia and fucking backpackers. I was meant to do a rundown of the last week. I didn't do much this week anyway, so it doesn't matter. And I need to start doing shit. I need to start gigging. I'm going to get my license in India so I can start driving around. So that should be fucking interesting. Anyway, I didn't get to any of that shit, but that's it for tonight. If you're enjoying the podcast, give it a share around to your friends, family, loved ones, and I'll see you the fuck later.